I can't make it without you, God. Lord, release your fire, God. Release your fire over their marriages, God. Release your fire over their families, God. Release your fire, God, over their hopes and dreams, God. Breathe new life, God.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Boss Babes Healing, where we are loving on each other and doing it by healing together and putting God first in all that we do. You know, as always, we jump in right away. We don't believe in wasting anybody's time around here. And I wanted to introduce to many Mr. Timothy Flemming, who is straight out of Atlanta, Georgia, who is a pastor, who is passionate about the people, who is bringing you strategy. In this last month, this last quarter, we want to bring you the fire, the healing, the change into your life that's going to do wonders into your 2026. So we are here to give you gems, jewels, fire to change the dynamic of where your life is headed. Mr. Flemming, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing blessed.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Right.
I welcome you here. I thank you for coming and joining the channel, Boss Babes Healing. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to show up. You decided to give us the tools that you have, and we appreciate you for that. That's what we do here at Boss Babes. We're all about healing, coming together, and community is what we're about. And so I wanted to ask you, in your writing, because I know you're an author, in your development work, are you a coach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so in your coaching, in your development work, you are all about bringing people to a position where they can be better in their business. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. So I focus on helping. Well, specifically, what I do is I help authors and just experts. I primarily work with those that have a Christian message or faith-based experts, entrepreneurs, authors, helping them to develop their expertise and also convert it into their own signature coaching programs.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that I do, but
Okay.
I also still help people write and publish books and do ghost writing. So I kind of do a
Awesome.
number of different things, but coaching
Awesome.
is
Awesome.
definitely one.
Awesome. That's beautiful. So we have a lot in common.
Right.
So what would you say primarily, excuse me, is the biggest issue you run into with the clients? What are they
Um,
running into?
Wow, that's a really good question. And I will say the biggest issue is really the mindset, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I wish I could say strategy, but it's more mindset. Uh,
Mm,
After many years of working with clients, the biggest setback that most people face that I've encountered is just overcoming things like imposter syndrome.
mm,
Really just developing the confidence in their offer, the confidence in what they have to offer. A
yes.
lot of people have jewels, they have gems that the world needs, but they lack the confidence to
Mm,
put out there to promote themselves, to share their gift with the world. A lot of people
mhm,
are worried about what someone's going to think about me or
mhm,
be judged, uh,
mhm,
being criticized, little things of that nature.
mhm,
And I find that to actually be the biggest problem. Uh,
mhm.
Not really strategy, but mindset, as
Right.
most people wrestle with.
Hmm. And so we had to jump into that today. They're struggling with their mindset. They're not realizing if they're good enough or what are people going to think or say. What would be a strategy, would you say, to developing their message?
To developing their message, you mean to a strategy on how they can actually develop their message, or kind of focus more on developing the mindset?
I would say developing their message, because if you're not confident in what you're doing, that can bleed across in what you're giving to your audience.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. So I will say, as far as developing their message, and I think that's a pretty interesting question right there, because when a person has a message, so a lot of people have a message that's just bubbling up on the inside of them.
Hmm.
Uh, this is kind of twofold. So,
Okay.
on the one hand, a lot of people struggle with being able to articulate what they have inside.
Yes.
So they have this incredible message, and they just don't know how to find the words to actually articulate what they are thinking and what they are feeling and what God has given them to offer. So that falls more into the area of a strategy issue. So as far as strategy is concerned, one of the things I usually tell people is the best place to start is to write down and just journal
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts, journal your feelings, journal your journey.
Wow.
Journal your journey, the things that
Good.
you encountered, the things that you went through, the things that you overcame.
Mm-hmm.
How did you overcome those things?
That
What are
part.
the steps that you underwent to obtain the victory and overcome the things that you went through?
Absolutely.
So journal your journey.
Mm.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of people, like I say, they have an incredible message on the inside of them,
Yeah.
but they've not put it on paper. They
Mm.
haven't written anything. They haven't gone back to just look at all of the things they faced and the steps they underwent to overcome that struggle in their lives. And
Yeah.
understand that your journey is the blueprint for someone else's breakthrough.
Say that
So
again.
I usually, your journey is the blueprint for someone else's breakthrough. So I
Mm.
usually tell people that, a lot of us, we go through painful situations. Some of us have gone through divorce. Some of us have lost loved ones
Mm-hmm.
prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have just experienced some of the craziest hardships, have dealt with addictions and
Yeah.
just problems that would normally just rip the average person into pieces.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so some of us, after going through these situations, are trying to make sense of what happened. What
Mm-hmm.
do I do? How do I deal with the pain of what I dealt with? How do I deal with the trauma of what I've experienced? And what I usually tell people is, look, understand that your pain can become your purpose.
Absolutely.
That you went through can finally become your platform, or
Yeah.
as they say in church, turn your mess into your message.
Message. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
don't just sit there and harbor on it, but now take it
Yes.
and use it, and use it to benefit and bless and help someone else. That's how you bring purpose to the things that you've gone through. And
Yes.
that becomes the fuel that actually propels you now to really develop that message and turn that message into a movement, something that can really impact the lives of other people. But yeah, that's the first step I would say, is just sit back and really journal your journey. And then after that, of course, you can always get help from someone else putting that into a certain format that you can
Right.
turn into an offer.
Right. That's awesome. That's absolutely beautiful. Turning your mess into a message is key. That's one of the top things that you absolutely should do. I would recommend anyone to do that. Um, so just to piggyback off of what you're saying, um, I think that that turns on a light switch for people because they're realizing, wait a minute, I'm insecure about this, but this insecurity is where God is leading me to give the message to his people. And internally and spiritually, they can realize now that I have a message on a whole other level that's going to change people's lives, where I thought that this was my insecurity. This is actually my answer. And
Wow.
so Mr. Fleming is showing up today with answers for you. He's not coming to you with that book knowledge. He's not coming to you with, something he heard or read or thought. He's lived this. You can tell it's natural, it's authentic, and he's giving you a gem, letting you know, turn on the light of what you think is insecurity. It's actually your insight to what God is saying. I want you to message to my people. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And so developing your message again is turning to the mess that you thought was your insecurity and transforming that into your message. And that's not always easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always
Yeah.
a piece of cake or a walk in the park to do, to journal about what you've gone through. It's hard, it hurts.
Yeah.
But it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Let's tap into that reason. There are many people who are waiting on you for
Yeah.
your message.
Yeah.
Their life is not changing because you're the answer. So
Mm.
you got people sitting around waiting for their lives to be changed, for you to get through what you've gone through, for you to heal and come to the other side. They're sitting around actually waiting for you to become that answer. You know, some years ago, I remember just some tough times that I went through and realizing, Coach, you face them so you can be someone's answer.
Yeah.
You face those things so they were challenging to you, but now someone else is going through the same thing and realizing, ding, 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 the light went off. You face that to be someone's answer, and it's amazing how 360 you can turn that all around and really become, the fuel and the answer for someone else. So I love that.
Yeah. If I could say one thing, because something you just said, and don't mean to kind of jump right in here, but
Yeah.
that was a very profound point that you just made, and I don't know if your audience really heard that. That even as a coach, there were things that you encountered and went through
Yeah.
that were very challenging. And one of the things that you just mentioned is about how some of us, again, we face this insecurity where we just like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to share, what I went through. I don't want to let the world know that I've been through this situation. And that's like I say, that's one of the biggest challenges that so many of us face, even for those that are in the coaching field and we're helping other people, and we feel like we have to have it all together.
That part.
If I don't have it all together, I'm not
Mhm.
qualified to help anyone else. You
Mhm.
know, I can't go through a season of challenges in my own life if I'm the coach. But the reality of what you just said is that you go through these things, or rather, God allows you to go through these things so that you can now acquire the tools to help someone else that's going through that same season. So it's not about disqualifying yourself because you still have challenges. It's about taking your challenges and the wisdom you acquire and using those things to help someone else. And you're not an imposter just because you are going through something while you're helping other people. So I wanted to just kind of throw that out.
No, that's 100% agree. There's some people who, as leaders, they get stuck in this
Yeah,
this pod, if you will, in this dark place where like, how am I coaching, or how am I teaching, or how am I giving anyone anything when I'm going through it? And
yeah,
that's your fuel. That's really what builds up your muscles.
yeah,
That's really what makes you taller and
hmm,
makes you an authority,
yeah,
is your problems that you've gone through.
yeah,
So let's transition into this next portion. And I think it's a perfect transition right here. And the transition is gaining an understanding of your audience. I think that's a perfect transition right here. We're talking about an insecurity, turning it into your message, realizing that even as a leader, you go through things and it doesn't make you less of a leader or doesn't bring you steps backwards, but it brings you steps forward. And in that nutshell in itself brings you an understanding into who your audience is. To me, your audience would be, or for me, my audience would be what I went through,
yeah.
right? But how would you break that down of finding out or getting the knowledge really of your audience?
Yeah, and actually, you just hit the nail right on the head. Usually, when I'm working with clients, and the first thing that we focus on is identifying your ideal client.
Mm,
Whether you're writing a book, whether you're creating a coaching program, whether you're starting any kind of business, especially a service-based business, you
mhm.
have to narrow down who your ideal client is. This is so profoundly important. I'll share one example and then I'm going to go into a little strategy.
Okay.
But just a couple of months ago, there was a person who came to my office and she was super duper excited
Yeah.
about signing up. I want to get an online course created and I'm trying to
Mhm.
create this program. And I, just found you and found your building and I'm ready to sign up right
Yeah.
now. So I sat down
Mhm.
and the two of us began to discuss her project. And I asked her, okay, so what are you working on? She says, well, I'm an energy healer. I deal with energy and I deal with a lot of different. And so she was going into a lot of the, the like age and a lot of those, the
I got you.
kind of beliefs. And I had to stop her right there and say, I'm sorry, but I cannot help you.
Mhm.
Can help you. Not all money is good money.
That's right.
All business is good business. You need to know who you want to work with, and you need to have an understanding, and they need to have an understanding. Some people will say, especially as Christian entrepreneurs, well, faith shouldn't be a part of your business.
Oh, that's
No,
number one.
no. You push faith aside because it's about the money.
Oh
Well,
no.
that's not. I definitely don't subscribe to that. You should let people know up front that my faith, this is my guiding principle here. Uh,
Yeah.
this determines who I work with. This is my system of ethics. This is my
Mhm.
moral compass. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to work on a project that conflicts with my moral code.
Yes,
So
that's
you need to
good.
put your faith front and center and don't hide that. I understand how people are today. Don't hide it. Your faith is your compass, and God will send
Yeah.
people to you. So getting clear about your ideal client is the first thing, and what you said earlier is the key. How people will oftentimes ask, well, how do I discover my ideal client? Do I just come up with something off the top of my head? Well, I work with women, and 40 years of age or, live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
usually tell people this is the best way that you identify your ideal client. Look at you several years ago when you were in your
Mhm.
struggle and go back and do a composite sketch of the you
Yes.
prior to your breakthrough.
Yes. Yes.
Look at the challenges that you were facing, the
Hmm.
thoughts that you were thinking, the
Yes.
emotions that you were feeling. Look at the emotional blockages that you were dealing with, because
Hmm.
overcoming a challenge has to do with more than just physical activity.
No.
It has a lot to do with an adjustment in our thinking, an adjustment in our emotional state. How do
Mm-hmm.
we emotionally overcome certain hurdles so that we can take action? So look at all of the things that you were dealing with prior to your breakthrough,
Yes.
and just really take that you and turn that you into your ideal client. Because if you were thinking certain thoughts and going through certain things, I guarantee you there are millions of other people going through
Hmm.
or thinking and feeling the same exact things that you
Right.
were with.
That's right. That is awesome. That is fire. That is fire. Um, Absolutely. Go back and pull it forward.
Hmm.
Go back. You can even journal that journey, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But yes, that is absolutely an awesome message and an awesome strategy. Um, I found that I found who my client is not, and that's also an answer too.
Yeah.
Well, you can find who your client is by running into who your client is not. you know, Sometimes people aren't ready, but they think they're ready.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find in coaching that people think that coaches are going to do all the work for you. And
Yeah.
that is absolutely the opposite of what coaching is about. We're
Oh,
going to give you the tools, the strategies, how to get there, but you got to put the work in. And
yeah.
so there are people like, yeah, I'll pay you. I'm on board. Yeah. Thinking you're going to sit down and do all the work for them and lay it all out. That's
Yeah.
not what a coach is all about at all.
Yeah.
So it's very easy. So in some situations to find out who your client is by running into who they're not. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you can start to strategize and write that down. Like, they did this, and that. What's the opposite?
Hmm.
So, and it's also key what you said to, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, when you have a faith and you believe in one thing, you don't ever go against that
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah.
You don't ever go against what it is that you believe in. That's your key to
Yeah.
where you're going. That unlocks the door to what it is God gave you.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
the key to the door. And if you throw that away, you're blocking your blessings. You're blocking who you have coming to you. Because another thing that I had to realize is you can know who your audience is or not know.
Mm.
Either way, God has an audience for you already.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's already built a crowd for you. He's already
Yeah.
he's already created the numbers for you. So a lot of people look at my numbers are not big or I don't have too many clients. God's already created those clients. And
Hmm.
so it's an awesome, awesome way to getting to who your client is prayer.
Oh yeah.
Going to God and saying, God, what am I doing that's not right? Where do you want me to be at? Because I want to be in the right place at the right time for the right reasons, all
Mm,
for your glory. Show me who my audience is. Show me where they are. Because I know you've already created them. And
oh,
so it's an awesome strategy to make sure you have prayer involved and
mm,
to make sure that that's the word I was looking for, compromise.
yeah,
Don't compromise your faith.
yeah.
So we've gone over getting to your message. We've gone over realizing who your audience is. And you mentioned emotional blockages. You mentioned the mental side of things. So what would be some keys to getting people out of that mental space?
Yeah, and again, just to kind of piggyback off of something that you had just mentioned again, is just don't compromise. Let God lead and guide you because God already has an audience for you. That is very important to keep in mind that when the Spirit of God leads you into this field, He's
Mhm.
leading you into a coaching field. He's leading you to become an author. And basically, becoming an author is the same as being a coach. You're just coaching people through your literature.
Right.
But when God
Understood.
is leading you into that area to share your story, there's a people that He's already set aside that is just for you. And
Mhm.
what that means is you understand that you're writing, you're coaching, your message. This is your calling. It's not a business. It's
That part.
this is more than a business, just something I do, to make money and pay bills. No, this is a divine calling.
Yes.
This is your ministry.
Yes.
I know we most of us kind of look at business and ministry and think that these are two separate things, and let's try to keep everything separated. No, these are one and the same.
That's
These are
right.
one and the same. And so when you see it that way, it helps you to get a different perspective. That you
Mhm.
see this is your purpose.
That's
You're
right.
walking in your purpose.
That's
You're
right.
serving other people as
Mhm.
God intended.
Yes.
You're not an imposter because you were created for this.
My
You
God.
were built for this. You were
Yes.
designed for this. And
Yes.
your life challenges prepared you for this.
Mhm.
So understanding that and seeing it in that context helps us to adjust mentally and emotionally so that we don't put the spotlight on ourselves, because a lot of people get held back because they're looking at themselves and they're criticizing and judging themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the most common things that people tend to say to themselves is, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough.
Wow.
I don't think I'm good enough for this. I don't think I'm good enough. And we overlook and just undermine all of the life experiences that have prepared us for that moment. And
Wow.
we kind of judge ourselves like, well, I don't think anyone's going to take me serious, or I don't think I'm good enough. And that's that internal critic. The inner critic.
Mm.
That inner critic never closes its mouth. I'm just going to it never shuts up. It's always there to try to tell you that you're not good enough. But one of
Mhm.
the key things that you really have to do is you have to do the inner work, so that you don't allow the inner critic to rob you of your purpose. Not
Yes.
not your business, but your purpose.
Yes.
This is more than money. This is about impact. This is about changing and transforming the lives of other
Mhm.
people. So
That's right.
understand, number one, that God has placed this in you because this is your calling, your purpose, and you're here to transform the lives of other people.
Yes.
That really kind of leads to the idea of you need to know what your why is
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
whatever it is that you're doing. Why
Yes, sir.
am I doing this?
Yes, sir.
Why am I doing this? And let that motivation remain front and center in front of
Mhm.
your eyes that, well, I'm doing this because there are people that need my voice. Uh,
Yes.
I'll share, and here's a good example. A lot of writing clients that I've helped, a lot of them would be reluctant to share stories. In fact, I'll use a really good example right here. I was working with a pastor. She
Mhm.
was a pastor, and she was pretty well known in a popular denomination.
Okay.
And she she came to me and she had an interesting testimony of experiencing sexual abuse at
Oh,
the
yeah.
hands of powerful bishops and leaders
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
denomination. And so you can only imagine her situation that, look, I'm a well-known name.
Mm.
People know who I am. And if I mention a name or anything, people are going to know who I'm talking about. And, you know, if I share this story, this can ruin some
Mm.
people in this denomination. It can cause a tidal wave,
Ooh.
ripples that just bring a lot of shame and a damaging reputation to this entire denomination, or the leadership at least. So she was very reluctant. And I sat down with her and I just simply just explained to her that, look, I understand your reluctance. Number one, you are facing a very big situation.
Yes.
But you came to me and said God told you to share your story.
Uh-oh. That part.
You said God told you to share your story.
Yeah.
So if he's trying to move you in the direction of sharing your story, I want you to look at it this way. You may offend 50 people, you know, who are in leadership and
Mm-hmm.
have a couple of people or what have you that get upset with you. But you may offend 100 people, let's say that, but you may set free 1,000 or 500,000 people.
Yeah.
So you have to think of it in terms of this, that, well, if I'm going to share my story, who am I going to impact? Sure, I'm
Right.
concerned about who I may offend,
Right.
but I need to shift my focus and begin to think about who I'm going to set free.
That's right.
You know,
That's
and that
right.
helps us to take the spotlight off of ourselves, to not be so worried and in bondage and fear.
Mm.
When we think about who we're trying to help,
That's
who
right.
we're going to set free, who we're getting ready to liberate, and what God is trying to do through us in the lives of other people. So that inner critic will never shut up, but you have to out talk the inner critic
That's right.
self of what God told you to
Yeah.
do and
Yeah.
who God called you to be
That's
and
right.
what God brought you through and why God brought you through
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're on fire this morning.
it.
Absolutely. All of these are gems. All of these are good strategies. You touched on being it sounded like you were saying that some people are entrapped in their mind or they're imprisoned in their mind.
Yeah,
Um, and when you are imprisoned in your own mind of not telling your story, you're literally hiding yourself.
yeah, oh yeah,
And if God is giving you a word for you to come forward and tell your story, you just told him no.
yeah,
You just told him no. So whatever God is telling you to do it.
yeah.
Wherever God gives you a message, there's provision, there's clarity,
Mhm.
there's strength, there's overflow and abundance and expansion inside of whatever he's telling you to do. Do it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Do it. And so I would absolutely suggest, to piggyback off what you're saying, to realize first and foremost, because some people don't even realize they're in that mental prison. They're
hmm,
thinking, oh, that inner voice is loud, or
yeah,
I'm just insecure and I'm not feeling like I'm there. Sometimes it's about the verbiage you use as a
mm,
leader. It's about what you're saying in prayer as
mm,
a leader. It's about getting into the details of what's going on with you. Once you start to
mm.
really address those miniature details of what you're going on through, what you're going through, you'll realize what season you're in and where your mind is at.
Oh yeah,
Then you can attack that. Because if you ignore it or you don't even know where you are mentally, you won't even be able to attack it. And the enemy loves for you to be confused. He
yeah,
loves for you to not know where you are. He loves for you to think it's blue and it's black. So if you take the time to slow down and really realize this is, like you said, my passion,
oh yeah,
who I'm called to, why I'm called to,
hmm,
when and where, and realizing what your why is, putting that before you, and staying in prayer and staying in the knowledge of where you are mentally, what season you're in. You got like three punches. You got some combinations now. You can really beat that devil up and make him get out of your way and
oh yeah,
show him I'm here and I'm
mm,
not gonna hide myself. I'm here, and I'm not gonna, put a blanket over my head and act like God didn't tell me to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
But that story that you get given about the young lady, the preacher, that's a sensitive subject. It's a
Yeah,
very sensitive topic, and it's not easy. I'm not telling anybody who's going through that, oh, get up and just show yourself. Oh, get up and just. It's not easy. It's hard. It hurts. I've been there. I've been there. So the fear comes from not the fear don't come from, I'll tell you, the fear don't come from the day that she came to you and said, this is what I want to do. The fear didn't show up that day. That fear's been going on for years. That fear that she was facing you with, that's something the devil been working on and shaping and molding on her mind for years.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that easily break out of in a short period of time, because the enemy used years to get you there. And
Yeah.
so, go ahead.
Yeah, and I really want to share this, why, because you're hitting on a very sensitive word, fear. Fear is the number one thing that really just dominates our lives. The Bible tells us God has not given us a spirit of fear, and we know the word fear there in the Greek, it refers to timidity. That God has not given us a timid spirit, a spirit of intimidation, where every time we are called to do something, we shrink back in and intimidation. And intimidation is where we look at ourselves as being very small. We reduce ourselves. It's kind of like what the Israelites did when God told them to enter into the land of Canaan, all the giants. And what do? They shrunk back. They said, we are nothing but grasshoppers. We're grasshoppers.
Yes.
So that fear there is when we actually shrink back and we start to see ourselves in a way that God did not create us. But I want to say one thing about this, about that word fear, and this is a strategy that you can use, is to identify what you are actually afraid of. Okay, if I have to, God is calling me to write a book, or God is calling me to launch a program or whatever, and all of a sudden there's this reluctance there, procrastination shows up. It's difficult for me to take that step or take that leap and to step out in that direction. Number one, don't ever beat yourself up. I found that this is the worst thing that a person can do, is to say, well, you know what? I should have had this book written 3 years ago. What's wrong? Why can't I? And if Satan is already attacking us, it doesn't do us any good to join in with him and tag team with him.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, don't beat yourself up. Actually, rather than attacking and criticizing yourself, take the time to understand yourself. Oftentimes, our brain is trying to protect us from further harm and danger. And so we find ourselves in procrastination mode. It's difficult for us to really to step out. It's because our brain is trying to protect us from some type of pain. So time out to identify what that fear is. A fear of rejection? Is it a fear of humiliation or embarrassment? Does this trace back to something that I may have dealt with in my childhood? Trauma that I experienced that I still haven't addressed? Beat yourself up, understand, locate, and identify what the fear is. And that's when you begin to gain power over that fear, when you identify what that actual fear is. That puts you in a position where now you can deal with the thing that's blocking you and begin to remove that so that you can move forward. And I've discovered one simple thing, to just, at times when I get nervous or anxious about something, I'll actually talk to myself. The Bible says, encourage himself in the Lord. And I tell myself, hey, Tim, I'll talk to my own brain. I know that, brain, calm down.
That's right.
There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be worried about. And just kind of remind myself that, hey, there's no reason to even be worried right now. There's no reason to be nervous or what have you, because some of us live in that place of fear, and we just have to identify what that fear is. And then, like Jesus said, speak to the mountain. Well, speak to that situation.
Right. That's right. That's absolutely right. When you speak to your mountain, you take back your authority.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you speak to your problem, you take back that authority.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in that authority and in that finding out what the issue is and confronting that fear, you gain a whole new insight
Yeah.
of who you are and how tall you really stand.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Not only that, but you start to take an accountability.
yeah.
And when you start to take accountability, that's a whole nother game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a whole nother game when you say, this is the problem.
Oh, yeah.
This is where it started. This is who it started with. This
Yes.
is how
Yeah.
far I've come.
Yeah.
Always look how far you've come.
Wow.
Always look at how you even respond to things.
Wow.
You don't respond to things the same when you were 16 as you do at 40.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Their response is totally different. So
Yeah.
you can see the maturity and the maturation and how you even respond to things, people, and places that you used to and you don't anymore. And
Yeah.
so these are all keys and strategy into absolutely attacking that mental side of your message, getting to your message, getting out of your own way,
Yeah.
and removing the blockages that can keep you behind, but they don't have to.
Yes. Yeah.
And so as we close, is there anything you want to close with?
Again, I just really appreciate the opportunity, just really allowing me to come and just share on
Yes.
this amazing podcast again. Just understand that God has such an amazing call for you,
Yes.
for each and every listener. God has a
Yes.
call for you, call on your life. You were created for a reason. You are here for a reason, and just like you said, don't listen to the voice of the enemy. Take note of all of your victories, all of your wins. Write them down. Just read over them. Just talk. Just mull over that or meditate on those things. Like Paul says, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's righteous. He says, think about these things. And that's right. That's right behind Paul saying that when you cast your cares and anxiety at God's feet, He will give you peace that passes all understanding. You his peace. Now change your focus by meditating on the right things. Meditate on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Meditate on your victories, not your perceived failures. Meditate on the possibilities, not the doors that you think have closed, because some closed door is a redirection to where you need to be in your life. So meditate on all of the wonderful possibilities and blessings. And let me stop before I go into preach.
Sir, please
Okay.
stand.
All right.
Where can the people find you? And what do you got coming up next?
All right. So you can find me. You can go to my website at www.timothyflemming, and Flemming is spelled with two M's, Flemming, Jr.com. So that's timothyflemmingjr.com. And currently, right now, the only thing that I'm really working on is I am looking to launch probably early 2026 a program that is designed to help people with mindset challenges. And I call it the self-sabotage program to help people that are dealing with self-sabotaging behaviors to identify what's causing them to self-sabotage. So that's coming up at the early part of 2026.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's so needed. That's going to be big. Y'all better jump on that now, because he's going to be booked and busy, and you ain't going to be able to get in there. You're going to be mad. Okay, so get in there while you can. It was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Flemming.
Awesome.
You came on fire today. You showed up. I love when people show up. Sometimes people they get on a podcast and they don't really authentically show up as themselves, but you really showed up as you today, and I appreciate that. And that is a testament to who you're going to show up to for your clients. That's a testament to how you show up for the people that God has sent into your life. And so I appreciate you, and I thank you, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Thank you. God bless.